Okay, abusuya be makwaba sonko so edeba POG Media so. Abusuya yembonra eye yensemu no. Eye Okudzeto ablakwa Mr. Uraman wababonten ababe expose afenyo markings eye ne nsem bia ode betudwa abusuya enye asamketo akra yesa vet nasono Okudzeto ablakwa esha se oyeden or expose afenyo markings about ensa sibia etese state lands and ase ensa sibia etese wawia ewo winiba etese odisa ansem ni nyina babetudwa afenyo markings so ekoye press conference ebeye ebetwitwa entro bebre eyeden eto Okudzeto ablakwa so na we ene Okudzeto ablakwa enya ho ababonten ababe expose NPP criminalities ene afenyo markings egu nanima asia abusuya enye asamketo akra yensa emomre no yenko na yenkonko tie ensema Okudzeto ablakwa editu jana answer na bekono owo ensem kan bi afahye ye comment section like na share ma afofron so ensa into me enkebi ahano POG Media so medamase.
Also live on 3FM 92.7. Also, we were there in the room when this happened.
Yeah.
In fact, describing this as disgraceful, this unruly, indisciplined behavior that we saw. Some Okudzeto, the Venerable, and former chief member of the Council of State in the erstwhile administration, your namesake.
Yeah, my good uncle.
Your good uncle says, even that honorable title given you, it has to be reviewed somehow. When sitting there seeing this, what was going through your mind?
To be honest with you, that really is Parliament's day of shame. Absolutely embarrassing. And as I said when I appeared before the special committee yesterday, the honorable title is end. We always have to remember that. We end this honorable title because of our conduct, because of how we go about our duties and responsibilities and the representation that we are expected to offer the people who vote for us. This conduct, and this is a simple matter. I mean, it's clear that they didn't want some of us to be vetted that day. That's those on the minority side.
Well, they said you went on the schedule.
You could just have asked for a little caucus. I've served on the appointments committee for 2 terms and beyond. You could just have asked for a break. You go into caucus and you resolve these matters. Because really, if you look at the letters, and I can give you copies of the letters I received, 24th January 2025, I received this letter signed by the clerk to the committee, Mrs. Gifty Jiake Goba, to appear before the appointments committee on Thursday, 30th January 2025. That
was the night that this happened?
Yes, and if you look at the schedule, I am the 5th person to be vetted that day.
After lunch.
And my time, 12:30 p.m. after lunch. It's all here, you know. And we all know the consequences of not attending upon, you know, committees of Parliament have the powers of a high court. You know, so it is not true that we smuggled ourselves in, my chiefs, my wife and I. Why would we do that? You know, look at the eminent people who came to support us, you know, the oral team and you know, very distinguished Ghanaians. These are not people who will be smuggling themselves to Parliament. They would only come when they have seen an invitation, and it did. Invitations were extended to us, and invitation cards, you know, provided. You know, so there can be no justification for this conduct, and the Speaker is right that this has brought Parliament into disrepute, and I'm glad that the special committee is working. It's unfortunate that the minority side, because they know that they started all of this and they are responsible for this chaos and really despicable conduct, have boycotted the proceedings. But I'm looking forward to their report, and I hope that far-reaching measures will be carried out, including sanctions, so that we don't see this happening, you know, again. You earn the honorable title. There's a certain expectation from the Ghanaian people as to how we conduct ourselves. And we cannot defend this. We cannot justify this kind of conduct where you are destroying property, destroying the tables, and unfortunately, this went international. I saw this on the BBC,
all across.
Reuters, AP, and as we travel across the world, we'll be asked, is that what happens in your parliament? Is that what you people are becoming known for? It's really shameful. And I sincerely hope that we do not see this again happening in parliament.
Well, the minority raised questions about the neutrality of the chair of this committee investigating this. That's one of the reasons why they don't want to be part of the entire process. So we'll see how that matter is addressed. But if you say that you were the target of this chaos, Commander Kano was there as well. So why do you think that you were the target of what we saw?
Listen to them. Listen to the minority leader. Right after the chaos, he sought to explain to the media that they had engaged in this shameful, despicable conduct because they saw me. I was smuggled in by the majority side. That's what he told the Ghanaian people. The next day, he continued. He addressed a press conference and said that my wife and I had been smuggled in. Those are his exact words. And that is why you remember that before I responded to their questions when I appeared at the Appointments Committee, I raised the matter and demanded an unqualified apology and read their own invitation letter to me, asking me to appear before them on the 30th of January 2025, a copy of which I have here, dated 24th January 2025, signed by Mrs. Gifty Jiaga Goba, clerk to the Appointments Committee, asking me to report without fail. So how can you say that I was smuggled? Clearly, they were just looking for some excuse, Even though what they are saying is blatant falsehood, let's just, for the sake of argument, say that you see an MP entering into your Appointments Committee room and you think that the person has been smuggled in, the person is not invited. Does it justify, even if that was the case, does it justify this kind of unruliness, this violent behavior? So there can be no justification. And you see, let's see leadership. When we err, we are human, we are fallible, and sometimes you can really go so low. You should be honorable enough to acknowledge that upon reflection, with hindsight, you should not have conducted yourself in that manner. But don't be muddying waters, and even annoying the Ghanaian people the more, causing greater outrage by just blatant falsehoods, fabrications about somebody being smuggled in. So I say I was the target because of their own statements that they made, claiming that because they saw me entering and taking my seat, waiting my turn, they thought, they should engage in that, very, very disgraceful conduct because I have been smuggled in. When you invited me.
But some of them also say because of who you are, the position you're going to occupy or you're occupying now, and what you have done in the past, and looking at the time of day at around 10 p.m. that you were supposed to be vetted, they definitely were not going to allow that to happen because they needed more time for you to grill you and ask you all the questions. And at 10 p.m., if what we saw was anything to go by, your 6-hour interview, if it had happened around that time, you were close around 3 a.m. that day. Honorable.
So, Alfred, the letter said I should appear that day. And it gave me 12:30 p.m. as the time that they expect that I will be called. But certainly the Honorable Sam George came before me and had been there for over 5 hours. So I was told to wait by both the clerk and the majority chief whip. And don't forget that this whole disgraceful episode, it takes a toll, even financially, because you have all of these guests, your chiefs have, and the chiefs didn't prepare, to stay over because they have been told that he will get to attend at 12:30. So you now have to be, frantically going around looking for where there might be hotel space to make hotel arrangements and all of that. So you rather owe us an apology, not lies, engaging in all of these fabrications. And look, if you pay regard to Article 1036 of the Constitution, it's very clear that committees of Parliament have the powers of a High Court, and they compel attendance. When you are invited and you don't show up, it's contempt. So, I mean, what is our crime? What did we do wrong for waiting for our turn and being beckoned? We were told by the clerk and the chief whip to come in, because the Honorable Akando was about to be vetted, and after the Honorable Akando, it will get to my turn. So they wanted me to hold myself in readiness. So really, there can be no justification for this kind of conduct, and I hope that we will work quickly to repair our image. We should not see this conduct again.
I see. Well, I want you to look at this video because it's a message from your uncle, the Venerable Sam Okudzeto, the former member of the Council of State of the former President Nana Addo Akufo, a respected legal practitioner, luminary for that matter. This is how he described the entire chaos that played before your eyes. This is what he said. Take a look.
When the title honorable is attached to you, I think it implies a certain kind of conduct and behavior which should be above board. It should be exemplary. Something that young people can look at and say, oh yeah, this is an honorable man, and this is what he will do. And so to find my children, more or less, I think I should call them my children, fighting in Parliament, throwing benches and breaking things, it's a shock to me. I can't believe.
But it's not the first time we've seen that happen in Parliament. We saw when the Speaker, who has been retained, was elected, we saw somebody run away with ballot papers.
Even that, compared to this brawling and fighting and actually throwing chairs, it's a different thing altogether. It's gone to a different dimension. That was bad already.
So is it?
Well, so that's your uncle there. And that in conversation with my colleague Beatrice Sedu. You have it. Clear words. Disgraceful, to say the least.
And he's right that when the honorable title is attached to your name, the Ghanaian people expect a certain conduct. And so, I mean, this is a matter that we have to bow our heads in shame as an institution, even though it's just a few people who have done that. You saw that, most of us were just quietly, also in shock, watching what was unfolding before our very eyes. But we hope it never happens. The Speaker has taken steps. This committee hearings, I'm sure that it will lead to far-reaching recommendations. The plenary will have its say. Major decisions will be taken, and moving forward, I'm sure that we will put in place measures to prevent this. But I do hope that sanctions will apply so that it will serve as a deterrent. But certainly disgraceful conduct, and it has lowered the image of Parliament, and I hope that we don't see that again.
Alexander A.Markin, the minority leader and ranking on this committee, the appointments committee, says that before your vetting, you had some sort of agreement with him. He says he's your good friend, that you sat and you had an agreement that certain things that you said and some positions that you held in the past about the conduct and some dealings of the previous administration were overboard. And so you were going to apologize before the committee, but you didn't do that. Maybe that's what led to all what happened at your vetting. Was any agreement of a sort reached between you and him?
Blatant falsehood. I was totally shocked when I heard A.Markin make that statement. What am I going to be apologizing for?
Some of the things you said.
I should apologize to Ghanaians that I stopped the National Cathedral project, which will have sunk more than $400 million. At the time I managed to stop it, $58 million has been sunk already. Do you know what $58 million is? What it can do for us? Do you know how many projects that have been constructed in our country all over? Even the mall, that you see all those structures, those facilities there, nowhere near $58 million. Hospitals have been built for half of that amount, fully equipped. All we see is a pit. I should apologize for leading a campaign against state capture that don't sell cantonments land for 42,000 cedis, for 160,000 cedis, when others are buying it for $500,000, $600,000. When we went to their great mechanization lands, the Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association, they told us that they were told by Jato and his gang that if they don't want their properties demolished, then they should pay $500,000. Your colleagues were there, the media captured it. Yeah. Only for them to see that ministers, MPs, had shared it amongst themselves, some paying as low as 42,000 cedis. We have the lease, we have the agreement, we have the document. I should apologize that our children were being fed with expired Moshosho rice, and which had been criminally rebagged. I should apologize that I made that expose and protected the children of our country. I should apologize that President Akuffo has a presidential jet ordered by President Akuffo, more than $37 million in pristine condition, great shape, nothing wrong with it. He wasn't using it, parked it, shunted it aside, and was chartering 20,000 euros an hour. So there
was nothing to apologize for?
There was absolutely nothing. So first of all, let me state clearly that it was during the vetting of Dr. Bawumia. Those proceedings were live. Mm-hmm. If you observe the vetting, when the minority leader walked in, he then beckoned, gave me a signal that he wants to meet me, he wants to see me. So it was live. You go back, and those who were there, they'll see that the minority leader had called me, and then he stepped out. So I then went to see him. His concern, what we discussed, is that he had just been told that the NDC has held a caucus meeting, and in that meeting, I have raised serious concerns about his conduct, and that I have said that we must bring it to his attention, and he has to be contained at the appointments committee. And he did not take kindly to that. He said that, why do I think that he is misconducting himself? And that he has been told what I said at the NDC caucus meeting. So that's what. So he called me. I didn't go and see him. That is a fact. The Honorable A.Markin called me during the vetting of Dr. Bawumia that he has heard everything I said about him at our caucus meeting. And that he wants to know why I'm saying that, because he knows I am a senior member of the appointments, former member of the appointments committee.
How did they get information of an NDC caucus meeting?
I mean, we have all kinds of friendship and all, but that's clearly a matter that that we shouldn't be proud of. So, and I told him that yes, I take the view that he goes overboard. We've seen other minority leaders.
So you said that? I
told him that, the attempt to settle personal scores and personal attacks and all of that, we didn't see other minority leaders do. That was the discussion. And even said, I was looking good. He always likes my suit, how I dress. That's what the meeting was about.
So there was no agreement?
There was no agreement. And at no point did I ask for a soft vetting or did I tell him that, backtrack on what? Withdraw what? Apologize for what? For saving the Ghanaian taxpayer, that billions of Ghana cedis which we have saved. For saving assets. But for the work we did, our SNIT hotels, Ghanaian workers will today not have their SNIT hotels. Aye. A few weeks ago, SNIT received 16 million Ghana cedis for Ghanaian workers to have and share. That will have gone to one person, one cabinet minister. Are these the things they want me to apologize for? Look, I am very, very proud of the work I have done. If they will not commend me, I know the vast majority of Ghanaians, I know my God, my Creator, is pleased with me and is happy with the work I've done. So let me state here, and I've been quiet. He's been all over the place.
Well, in fact, we're getting
putting out total fabrication.
Let's listen to exactly what he said in that journalist interview, specifically about this arrangement, which you say never took place. Let's take a look.
Scrutinizing CVs. Today, when his CV is being scrutinized, he says it's a tenant. 15,000 Ghana cedis is all he did. No. Please, colleagues, wait. 15,000 cedis. Before his vetting, ask Ablakwa whether we didn't sit as brothers. I said, Sammy, there were things that you went overboard. I think if you make concessions, we'll be fine. Is that okay? Meanwhile, I was aware that this is oral. Guys, have been...
So you said this never took place?
Never happened. Never happened. He called me. Unfortunately, it happened. It was live. Dr. Omani Bwame's vetting. He called me. Everybody saw us walk to the side room, and then his concern was that he's wondering why, I am criticizing his approach at the appointments committee and saying that he should be contained, and that he has been briefed, and he was really worried about that. That's all we discussed. At no point, and I have said, look, when there was even pressure before the report was presented, they wanted the Honorable Sam George and I to apologize. We stood our grounds. We said that we would not apologize. There is nothing to apologize for. I mean, so what? And then what do I tell the Ghanaian people? That what? So the National Cathedral, $58 million, what is justified? The Snate hotels that they were taking for cheap, that is justified. That the 42,000 cedis that they are paid for cantonments land, when others are paying between 500,000 and $1 million, that is justified. I mean, it would be so preposterous, so ridiculous.
See,
okay, abusia we ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway so Okudzeto ablakwa na yete se odema A.Markin's left center back and right enye asem keto akra expose ne guso ora team na tena se ye the more updates ebebrem ye nsem mmre ne ebeda mase se moje pene kokotie sa audio we e de mi aha POG Media so bedamase.